Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dugout Daily. I'm Charlie, and I'm joined by Bernard again. How are you, mate?
I'm fine, Charlie. Yeah, I've got the old Christmas tree behind me, but we're all good here. It's a bit miserable outside, but I can hear the rain battering the windows, but we're okay.
Yeah. Two match reactions in 2 days. You can tell it's the Christmas period just by that, and the Christmas tree behind Bernard as well.
The clues in the image, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But last night, a 2-1 loss in Germany, a rare defeat on German soil for City. What was your thoughts on the game overall?
Very disappointing, mate. I mean, obviously, sort of the team was more or less what I expected. I thought Pep would go strong, but obviously on the night, certain players didn't perform, and certain, that sort of we've relied on this season, and they certainly missed the guys who were left home in Manchester. I think that's the whole point of it. I think they don't perform as well without 3 or 4 key players, and when your goalkeeper's your best player on the night, obviously things didn't work out so well, did they?
No. So the game last night was a 2-1 defeat, with Dominic Szoboszlai and Andre Silva scoring for RB Leipzig. Riyad Mahrez scored a good header for us, but a silly red card for Kyle Walker. We'll get onto that later, but of course, now he'll be suspended for the first leg of the round of 16 game with whoever we play. There is just news from Russia. Chelsea have just conceded in the 95th minute to make it 3-3 against Zenit St. Petersburg. So that means Chelsea would drop down to second place in the group. That, of course, we can't play them because both English clubs, but that would be disappointing for Chelsea, definitely. So we'll start with the team news. For us, we was actually live when the team news came out, Bernard.
Yeah.
I was surprised with the team. Steffen in goal, back four of Walker, Stones, Ake, and Zinchenko with Fernandinho in midfield. Gundogan, De Bruyne, Mahrez, Foden, and Grealish as the front three. Grealish ended up playing in the false 9 role. On the bench was Ederson, Carson, Diaz, Sterling, Egan, Riley, Palmer, McAtee, Lavia, and Wilson as Brand. We was live when the team news came out, Bernard, but what did you think immediately with the team?
Yeah, we're a bit disappointed Palmer didn't get a game, but that was a team that on paper was good enough to win this. I mean, Leipzig aren't a bad team, but certainly on paper, Pep went strong and he didn't risk the kids, and he wanted to get a result. Let's not beat about the bush. He thought that team last night, his players that he trains day in day out, he thought that team would be good enough to get a result, a victory more like, and not just a result. I mean, obviously, I would have been happy with a draw at one stage, but I'm sure he was fairly confident with that team that it was good enough to do the business. Obviously, in hindsight, he was totally wrong.
Yeah. And the Leipzig team looked like this. It was Peter Galassi in goal. I found out he used to play for Hereford and Hull. So only scoring one past him was a bit disappointing. It was a back four of Angelino, Klosterman, Gvardiol, and Mukiele with let me just get it up because they're all in a random order here. So in midfield for Leipzig was Konrad Laimer with Kevin Campbell. On the right was Nkunku. On the left was Szoboszlai, and Emil Forsberg was just behind Andre Silva. This was an important game for Leipzig, of course. They just had to match or get a better result than Club Brugge to qualify for the Europa League. Of course, they managed to do that with their win. And I thought maybe they would have took their foot off the gas when PSG were 2-0 up inside 7 minutes or something like that. So there was a long way back for Club Brugge. What was your thoughts on the Leipzig team when it first came out?
Yeah, I mean that was I thought that was a fairly good team on paper. And to be honest with you, if they hadn't been told what was going on in Paris during the game, obviously I thought they played as though they did. You know, they knew a win was important that first half. But I think after half time, I think they sort of did take the foot off the pedal. I think they just obviously realised Brugge were getting stuffed. And you know, at 1-0 they were fine, but they'd look as though the second half they just took the foot off the pedal, and we couldn't take advantage. Unfortunately, that they did do that, which you know they sort of literally scored with the first real attack of the second half, and that was like the 71st minute. So, yeah, they did take the foot off the pedal. Unfortunately for City, it was obviously 45 minutes too late because we couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah. Onto the stats then. Leipzig had 44% possession. We had 56%. 9 shots to 13. 5 shots on target to 3. 2 shots off target to 5. 2 block shots to 5. 2 corners to 9. 1 offside to 6. 19 fouls to 8. 2 yellow cards each. Of course, we had a red card. 2 big chances to 1. 1 big chance missed to none. We hit the woodwork once with Phil Foden, 1 counter attack to none, 1 counter attack shot to none in favour of us, 9 shots inside the box to 8, no shots outside the box for Leipzig. We had 5. Peter Galassi had to make 2 saves. Zack Steffen had to make 3. 451 passes to 556. 84% accurate passes to 87%. So that's actually quite low for us, only 87%. 47% accurate long balls to 60%. 20% accurate crosses to 50%. 50% successful dribbles each. 105 times Leipzig lost possession. We lost it 104. 19 duels won to 43. 4 aerial duels won to 11, 4 tackles to 11, 7 interceptions to 11, and 14 clearances to 5. Do you reckon the stats represent the game there, Bernard?
Yeah, as you said, you sort of picked out a couple of ones there where they're well down on what we could normally do, and that's the thing. Even the shots, but I think the one that sort of summed up the game for me was probably just the offsides one. We didn't have Jesus on the pitch, and yet we were offside 6 times. So that just shows a lack of not interest, but something wrong. That shows that something wrong with City performance last night. If we get caught offside 6 times doesn't sound much, but I don't think we get caught offside that much as in this day and at the moment. So, and especially when it wasn't as though there were fast breaks, it was sort of the players had time to look across and find out they were offside. So it's just a lack of care and attention. I think that was just a general thing throughout the team, unfortunately. And those stats are well down on the good things on what we'd normally expect from City.
Yeah, definitely. And then the attack momentum graph looked like this. Of course, looking at that, we had more periods, but Leipzig definitely had more chances than we mostly see from our opposition. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they made theirs count, didn't they? That was the difference. We sort of obviously they look good at ours, but obviously we didn't make it count. And certainly Steffen was far busier than their guy, certainly for the first half. And to go in 1-0 down, I thought it was quite an accomplishment because I thought we could have been 2 or 3 down at half time, and that wouldn't have been, a bad reflection on how that first half went. To be honest with you.
Yeah. So we'll go through player by player. Starting with, of course, the goalkeeper, Zack Steffen. 3 saves, 1 punch, 1 out of 1 successful runouts, 1 high claim, 3 saves from inside the box, 32 touches, 90% accurate passes, none out of 2 long balls were accurate, 1 clearance, 1 tackle, dribble pass once, 1 last man tackle, 1 out of 2 ground duels were won as well. Do you think Steffen was our best player last night, potentially?
Yeah, it was definitely the first half, and to be honest with you, the second half was a bit rubbishy anyway. So the fact he did a good job in the first half. I mean, I remember that he did a pretty pathetic punch at one time. I remember, which I thought, what the hell's that? But apart from that, no, I don't think he was quite as called upon in the second half. As I just said, they very rarely ventured near the 18-yard box, Leipzig, in that second half. But no, based on that first half performance, he certainly made two or three very good saves, not just standard saves, but a couple of things, two or three where he sort of saved goals. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with Steffen's performance last night. He was the only one for me that got anywhere above the average.
Yeah. Into the back four then, starting with the right back. Unfortunately got sent off in the game as well, Kyle Walker. 82 minutes played, 3 interceptions, 2 tackles, 2 out of 3 ground duels were won. 10 times he lost a possession, 1 foul, 80 touches, 89% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 4 out of 7 accurate long balls as well. He just really annoyed me when he got sent off. Did he annoy you?
Yeah, well, we know Walker. Every say, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, 5 months or whatever of playing, he does something stupid. It's either a stupid tackle in the box that gives a penalty or something like that when he doesn't need to or something, and that's what he does. And last night, I think we probably commented before the game that he was a player that I thought, are we going to play Walker? Why, they're going to take a chance on one of the kids? I mean, obviously, in hindsight, it probably would have been a good idea, but he didn't look right last night. There's a couple of times he looked as though he got caught for a bit of pace. He didn't look 100%. I think it was a game too far again for Walker last night, to be honest with you. But there's no excuse for that pathetic thing he did at the end. I mean, someone said he got fouled a little bit earlier, but I didn't remember that. I didn't go back and watch it, but. It's not, at the end of the day, that referee was a pain. He was he was a teacher, so it was all, he booked KDB for obviously not listening to his whistle and stuff like this. So he was a picky ref anyway. So for Walker to do that, whether it would have been a sending off with another referee, I don't know, but he probably deserved it because he was a total idiot.
Yeah, big up Chelsea fan, Static, Anthony, and James. All in the chat as well. Into the centre halves then. The first one being John Stones. He was on the pitch for 90 minutes, 1 block shot, none out of 1 ground duels were won, 4 out of 4 aerial duels were won. 3 times he lost a possession, 1 foul, 77 touches, 96% accurate passes. 6 out of 7 long balls were accurate as well. Thoughts on John Stone's performance last night?
Yeah, I mean those stats aren't too bad, are they? But I didn't think he played particularly well last night. I think that was one of his worst displays I've seen for a long time from John Stones. Obviously, the first goal was a bit soft. Obviously, there was 3 of them, not perhaps Aki as much, but obviously Walker and Stones were caught out. And we've seen that for City many times over the years when we've got them sort of through balls through the middle and our central defenders and defenders have been caught out by it. But yeah, those stats were actually better than I thought they would be on Stones, to be honest, because I wasn't overly impressed, but it looked on there. He was still finding some decent passes and stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't say. I would say it's one of his worst games for a while last night.
Yeah. Big up Big Morgan in the chat as well. He says Bernard has 20 jobs.
21.
21. There we go. Next up is his centre-back partner last night, Nathan Ake. 87 minutes played, had to go off due to an injury. 2 clearances, 3 interceptions, 1 tackle, 2 out of 3 ground duels were won, 3 out of 4 aerial duels were won. 6 times he lost a possession, 1 foul, was fouled once, 1 offside, 76 touches, 91% accurate passes, 3 out of 7 long balls were accurate, and 2 shots off target. Thoughts on Nathan Ake's performance?
Yeah, I don't think he let us down. I think he could have perhaps done better with a header from a corner that he sort of headed over the bar that I thought he might have got on target, but it wasn't the easiest thing. But Aki just did an Aki. I don't think you could say he was at fault particularly for anything. He did his best of a bad job, to be honest with him. Between him and Stones, I thought he was tons better than Stones. So, although those stats again don't particularly show that, but I thought Aki was the better of the two last night. It was just an average standard game from Aki last night.
Yeah. Next up, left back was Alexander Zinchenko. 1 assist, he assisted the goal, 1 clearance, 2 interceptions, 1 tackle, dribble pass once, 3 out of 6 ground duels were won, none out of 1 aerial duels were won, 12 times he lost the possession, 1 foul, was fouled twice, 87 touches, 89% accurate passes, 2 key passes, 3 out of 5 accurate crosses, 1 out of 2 long balls were accurate, 1 big chance created and none out of 1 dribble attempts were successful. Thoughts on Zinchenko's performance?
Yeah, I mean, to me, he just whacked that cross across for Mahrez. I mean, I wouldn't say he was lucky, but he just wellied it basically. And all credit to Mahrez for turning it into a goal. But he was all right. I think he's played 3 Champions League games now, and he's been pretty average in all 3 of them. He had a good game against PSG in the home game, but a lot of the players did in that game. So, yeah, just again a bit like Aki, just average, nothing fantastic, nothing brilliant, and say he just doesn't. He's not getting enough games, is he? So, for him to come in and at least play average, it is okay. That's passable if other players are stepping up as well. And unfortunately, they weren't last night, but it was okay last night.
Yeah. Into the midfield then. First up is the captain last night, Fernandinho. 84 touches, 87% accurate passes, 1 out of 2 crosses were accurate, 3 out of 6 long balls were accurate, 1 shot blocked, 1 out of 1 dribble attempts were successful, 5 out of 6 ground duels were won, 1 out of 2 aerial duels were won, 12 times he lost the possession, 1 foul, was fouled 4 times, 1 block shot and 1 interception. Thoughts on Fernandinho's performance?
Yeah, I think that was his first start, wasn't it, in the Champions League? He come on as sub a couple of times, but he's just rusty, mate. He's just as he is now. I don't think I think we've seen the best of Ferner. You probably will see him perhaps in FA Cup games and the odd league game where we've got the game, he's got something won and stuff like that. But it was okay. But obviously, he's just not. He's just there, isn't he? Again, nothing special. Just at a we need at least 2 or 3 players to have outstanding games, not the keeper. We needed 2 or 3 outfield players to play well last night, and he was just another one who just had a bang average game. Didn't do a lot wrong, but didn't do a lot right either. It just bog standard yet again.
Yeah. Next up then is Ilkay Gundogan, returning back to Germany. Of course, is German. 58 touches, 81% accurate passes, 1 key pass, none out of 1 crosses were accurate, 4 out of 5 long balls were accurate, 1 shot blocked, 5 out of 6 ground duels were won, 1 out of 1 aerial duels were won, 13 times he lost the possession, 1 foul, was fouled twice, 1 interception, 3 tackles, and was dribble past once. Thoughts on Gundogan's performance?
Yeah, again, those stats look a little bit better than what I remember he did. To be honest with you, I thought he was quite poor. I thought he started off okay, and then obviously games like that where KDB's not quite. Well, we'll talk about KDB in a minute, but KDB's not quite at it. We want Gundogan to be at it, but the trouble is when KDB's on the pitch, Gundogan never really is at the top of his game. I don't think all responsibility goes to KDB. And again, I think he was absent for a lot of the game. I just didn't really notice him. He just wasn't doing anything spectacular. It wasn't even average for me. I thought it was a bit below average last night, and he was one of the players for me that really could have sort of dragged us up and got us in this game, but he just seemed a bit lethargic.
Yeah. That brings us on nicely to KDB, who was in midfield next to him. 87 minutes played, 64 touches, 88% accurate passes, 3 key passes, 4 out of 7 accurate crosses, 3 out of 4 accurate long balls, 1 shot on target, 3 shots off target, 1 shot blocked, 4 out of 4 ground duels were won, 10 times he lost the possession, he was fouled twice, 1 clearance, 1 interception, and 2 tackles. Thoughts on De Bruyne's performance?
He just got minutes on the pitch, mate, didn't he? That's all we can ask for, to be honest with you. Apart from that, I mean, that free kick was okay that the goalie saved, but if it had been more in the corner, it might have gone in. But it was an okay. And then I think they did a couple of other free kicks that were pretty naff, to be honest with you. But that's all. The only positive was he got 80 odd minutes on the pitch. That's all I can say about KDB last night. Again, a little bit disappointing.
Yeah. Into the front three then, starting from the right-hand side, it was Riyad Mahrez who was out there. Scored the goal, of course, one shot on target, 34 touches, 88% accurate passes, one key pass, 1 out of 3 accurate crosses, 2 out of 2 accurate long balls, 1 out of 3 ground duels were won, 1 out of 1 aerial duels were won. 7 times he lost a possession, was fouled once, 2 offsides, and he was dribbled past twice. Thoughts on Mahrez's performance?
Yeah, people like Mahrez shouldn't be getting offside, that's for sure. So a couple of offsides isn't very good, but obviously that's just a lack of attention to what's going on around him. He's the only City player who started every Champions League game this season so far, Mahrez, and he's done okay. He didn't do badly last night. He scored a goal. I mean, if he hadn't scored that goal, I probably would have marked him a little bit less, but it's a cracking header. But again, we want a bit more magic from him to perhaps score a second. But apart from that, very, very, again, nothing great. Just a great goal, well taken goal. All credit to him, and that made his score a little bit higher with me. But apart from that, as I say, he's played well in the Champions League. But again, he just got dragged down to everybody else's level, I think, last night.
Yeah. And then in the false 9 was the £100 million man, Jack Grealish. 2 shots blocked, 2 out of 2 successful dribble attempts, 56 touches, 80% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 1 out of 3 accurate long ball, 6 out of 7 ground duels were won. 10 times he lost a possession, was fouled 3 times, 1 offside, and 1 tackle. I sounded like one of those commentators then, the £100 million man. How do you think he played?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's possibly one of the worst false 9s I've ever seen played, to be honest with you, because I didn't even notice him. I didn't notice he was there. The only time I noticed him was when Sterling came on for the second half, and he played down the left, and he had a couple of little touches. But I tell you what, it was awful. If that's what Pep wants from him going forward, I say, like, it's got to be a team thing. This, and the team were all poor last night. No one lifted anybody else up, unfortunately. But as Grealish is a false 9 last night, as I say, I was hard pushed to find to even know he was playing that first half, and I only noticed in the second half because he moved him back out onto the left at times, so he played a bit there later on in the game. I think Sterling started there in the second half, and then I think Grealish went over there as well then. But that's the only time I noticed him. I thought, as a false 9, he was false because I didn't really see him that much, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And then the final starter was Phil Foden. The Stockport Iniesta had to go off at halftime due to an ankle injury. I hope that's not serious. 1 shot on target, none out of 1 dribble attempts were successful. Hit the woodwork once, 25 touches, 53% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 2 out of 3 accurate crosses, 1 out of 2 ground duels were won. 11 times he lost a possession, and he was fouled once. Thoughts on Foden when he was on the pitch?
Yeah, I have heard a rumour that it looks as though he might be all right for Saturday, but I don't know where that came from. But again, he didn't look right, mate. He's not looked right for a couple of games, though. And, obviously Pep said about a knock, but I mean, he wouldn't have started the game unless he was fully fit, surely. But I don't know where he got the knock from. I couldn't remember anything. He just looked totally out of sorts. I mean, having said that, he nearly got us a goal, a reasonable save by the keeper onto the post. That would have been in if the keeper hadn't got a hand, his fingers to it, if you like. But another one that was fairly anonymous, and obviously we need people like Foden in that team. When you look at that team on paper, your KDBs, your Foden, your Mahrez, your Gundogan, you've got some good players there, but if none of them are performing, it probably affect the others. If you stuck Bernardo in there somewhere, it might have lifted the other guys up a little bit. But yeah, Foden doesn't look right to me. He's not looked right for about 3 games now, even though he's been playing. So, as I say, we're not hearing it's anything serious, but it is a little bit of a worry, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Onto the subs then. You mentioned him there. Raheem Sterling was the first sub. Was on the pitch for 45 minutes. None out of one successful dribble attempts, 10 touches, 50% accurate passes, none out of one accurate crosses, 1 out of 3 ground duels were won, 6 times he lost to possession, 1 foul was fouled once, 2 offsides as well. Thoughts on Sterling when he was on the pitch?
Well, there's not a lot on there for 45 minutes work, mate, is there? I thought when he first came on, he added a bit of pace. We looked a lot better on that, certainly down the left there, but when he first came on. And for about 5 or 10 minutes, he looked quite lively. And then a bit like Grealish, when I noticed Grealish, and by that stage, I didn't notice Sterling then, so I don't know where he went. But he's another one that he played all right for 5 or 10 minutes, but those stats there prove it. He didn't do much. And as I say, we should have been pressing for an equaliser, and obviously then for a obviously, you know, if you like to get a goal back, then the equaliser. And I'm afraid Sterling, he just disappeared from me. I just don't know where he went again. He just hid. There's a lot of players hid last night. Just didn't sort of take responsibility. And sadly, as I said, he's only on 45 minutes. He started okay, but then he went totally out of it again. Very, very disappointing.
Yeah, and then the 2 other subs were both in the 87th minute. The first of 2 was Ruben Dias, was on the pitch for 3 minutes. 1 out of 1 ground duels were won. 1 out of 2 aerial duels were won. He lost the possession twice. 1 foul was fouled once. 11 touches in 3 minutes. That's quite impressive. 80% accurate passes as well. It just didn't have anything to do, did he, when he was on the pitch?
I would ask the question as to why. I would ask the question as to why put him on for 3 minutes plus injury time, obviously as well. But 6 minutes, was it, or 7 minutes in total? Yeah. I mean, the stream I was on, I must have either looked away or something, because I thought, who's number 3? I thought, where's he come from? And I thought, I didn't even see him come on the pitch in the same way I didn't see Palmer come on the pitch, that we're going to talk about briefly. But I don't see the point, Charlie, mate. What is the point? I mean, I have no idea what. I mean, if you're 2-1 down, 87 minutes, you bring on Ruben Dias, and I think he moved Werner into the middle then, didn't he, as the centre half? And I don't know. I have no idea. Perhaps Pep was planning for something else, and he wanted to have a look at 7 minutes of this new formation. I'm not too sure, but it was a weird one, mate. I mean, why not just bring one of the kids on for 3 minutes? I mean, why even risk Ruben Dias, who is one of our, if you like, first on the team sheet guys? Pep, he just does amaze me sometimes in a bad way, not just a good way. It's just I don't understand it, mate. Can you tell me why Ruben Dias was brought on in the 87th minute? I don't.
I think Ake had a bit of a knock to his back, but I don't understand why you'd bring Diaz on and not one.
I just don't understand. I mean, just say put Werner back and bring one of the young lads back up on the left there somewhere. It wouldn't have made any difference, you know. Why risk Diaz in a situation like that when you've lost the game anyway? We'd virtually give up on getting a draw at that stage, so it wasn't as though we were pushing, we were battering them. We had 10 men anyway, and we played quite well with 10 men. I thought actually once Walker went off, but obviously not good enough to get an equaliser. But very, very odd by Pep. I can understand, as you say, if obviously he had to go off injured with his back, fair enough. But all right, it's a centre half for a centre half, but I still don't understand it. We could have brought one of the young lads on, and as you said, Werner's put a centre half, and Diaz was playing left back. So I have no idea, mate.
Pep does amaze us sometimes. And then the next one was on the pitch for such a small period. He doesn't even have a heat map. Cole Palmer was on the pitch for 3 minutes, 2 touches, 100% accurate passes, and that's it. He just didn't have time. He should have had longer.
I mean, what do these players think? I mean, if it's to kill time at the end of a game, that's the old tactic, isn't it? If you got a tight game and you're winning it and you want to hang on to your result, you break the time up by bringing players on late, even though you don't particularly have to. You know, it's tactical. It's just what it is. But again, with Palmer, why not just bring on one of the, I mean, would the other young lads, Lavia or Wilson Esbran or McAtee or someone like that who's not had a go. At least Palmer's had a go. Again, just totally pointless for me. I just don't understand any logic whatsoever in that. But there you go.
Yeah. Next person we're going to talk about then is Pep. In my opinion, he should have played a bit of a weaker team. There was no need to play so many first team players. We've had a few knocks from the game as well. Foden had to go off. Ake went off, and most of the team played a full 90 minutes as well, which confused me a bit, to be honest. Did it confuse you as well?
I think Pep's got he's got a lot of faith in his squad, and I think he had faith in that team last night. I had sort of faith when I saw it, but in the normal run of things, that's the sort of, I sort of jokingly said on another pod last night, that's the sort of team he'll play against Swindon Town away. And I said it in a joking manner, but I don't think I'm too far out, to be honest with you. You know what Pep's like? If we've got all the squad available, he won't stick 4 or 5 youngsters in. He won't do what he did against Wickham at the Etihad, which was a sort of, you get that every now and then. But Swindon away, you can imagine that team he put out last night. It'd be a team he'd play against Wickham, Swindon away in the FA Cup in January. So, I did joke about it, but he's got faith in these players, and you can't look at that team last night and think that we're not cannot get a result. Red Bull are a good team. We know they're a good team. They played very well at our place. Obviously, we sort of ended up sort of slaughtering them. But for that 70 minutes of that game, it was nip and tuck. It's very, very close. And they're no mugs. They just got rid of the manager. So there's 2 ways the players can react. They can down tools, or they can make the effort for the new guy. And obviously, they made the effort for the new guy because they've got plenty of talent there. The new guy might be coming in, or this guy might keep it permanently for a little while. We don't know. But it's disappointing, and Pep had faith in that team. But as in hindsight, when you ask the question, well, you could have just stuck all the kids in, keep your guys on the bench, have 5 kids in, and we probably would have got beat again. But you never know. The kid, there would have been more energy in the team. There's certainly a lack of energy last night. If it had been snowing and miserable and wet, I would have probably understood it. But perhaps no crowd didn't help. But it was the same for both teams, wasn't it? But no, I think not. I don't want to be unfair on Pep. I thought he picked a team there. He thought could get a result, and he did I think the players let him down badly. I'm sure they did. I'm sure, just that lack of being tuned in with these offsides, etc. I don't think they were fully at it, the guys on the pitch, and there's certainly enough quality in that team last night to at least make a good effort. And as I said, apart from Steffen, the others, the best you got was an average display, and some of the others were pretty rubbish. So yeah, I don't blame Pep. I don't blame Pep. I thought that was more or less what he'd do. He'd go strong and try and get results. So, yeah, I think the players let him down. And I was hoping he'd give him a rollicking at half time, and they'd show some real intent in the second half. But even that didn't. Even that petered out a little bit. Even that didn't sort of. We weren't exactly laying siege to the Red Bull goal in the RB goal in the second half. So yeah, I'm not going to blame Pep too much. He made mistakes, but at the end of the day, that team should have been good enough to win. So I think the players take a lot of the blame last night. And then if Charlie comes back on and I keep talking, who knows? There we are. We'd lose you then, mate.
Yeah, my dad waffling as usual. Next, we're going to talk about RB Leipzig. How do you think they played, Bernard?
Yeah, I thought they played all right. We know they're a good team. So they're not doing great in the German league, but obviously they've had problems. They've sacked the manager, so obviously things weren't quite right. I mean, it could have been the players weren't getting on with him or whatever. You don't know. We don't know. I don't know that much about the team, in German football and what they're doing. So there could have been reasons for that. The fact they're not doing as well as they should do. But as I say, they got big financial backers there, and they expect a little bit more from the manager and expect a little bit more from the team. But I think they got some good players. Even he looked all right. Even Angelino looked okay last night, didn't he? Let's be honest about it. So we even made him look good. So that's another negative as far as City concerned, to make him look good. We never really tested him either, which is such a shame. But yeah, they're all right. I don't think how far they'll get in the Europa League. I don't know. I'm sure there's the odd better team in there that's dropped out of the Champions League in third place. But yeah, they're all right. Leipzig. They should finish top 6. I know they're 8th or 9th at the moment, but if they get a decent manager again, which they tend to do, Leipzig, they employ some good guys. They have a way of playing, and they sort of try and appoint managers that go for that way of playing. So, yeah, they'll be all right. I would say I wasn't unimpressed, and I wasn't unimpressed when they came to the Etihad. So, no difference really.
Yeah. I think there's even better teams in Germany that dropped into the Europa League because Dortmund got knocked out. So, and I think they're a better team than Leipzig, to be honest.
Yeah. They will. They'll obviously. Is it the last 16? Is it 16 or 32 now with the Europa League? I'm not sure how it works with
I think
that
it's
one.
something like it. A team who finished third in the Champions League plays someone in second in the Europa League group, and then they go through.
I can't see them winning it or anything like that. To be honest with you, but they're all right. They're a good, honest German team. Which there you go. There's a rare thing. They'll be all right. They'll be all right, Leipzig. As I say, I don't know much about them, but they weren't. They played the game properly. They weren't overly. I don't think they were overly dirty. Just the odd thing, but I've seen a lot worse foreign teams playing City. That's for sure.
Yeah. Next, we'll talk about someone who thought it was all about himself. The referee, Sandro Scharer. You mentioned before he's actually a teacher. He booked De Bruyne for taking a free kick as well, so it was a bit odd.
Yeah, I mean, certainly European games. I mean, I've seen players booked in England for. I think KDB's been booked for it. I think a couple of years back, 3-4 years back. I can't remember. I've certainly seen a City player get booked for it. Anyway, taking a free kick when the referee wasn't ready, and I've seen it done in England. But when you're talking difference in languages and stuff like that, and it was a funny atmosphere. Anyway, it's not as though he could say he couldn't hear the whistle because of the crowd, is it, or anything like that? It was a weird atmosphere anyway, and it's a bit. By the rule of law, this, I'm sure some refs don't have to do. They're not getting in trouble if they don't. Put it that way. I'm sure he wouldn't have got in any trouble if he hadn't booked KDB. He just, as you say, he just wanted to sort of make a point that he was in charge. As I said, I certainly wouldn't say the red card was anything unfair. I thought that was pretty spot on. He got it right there. I mean, some refs might have just give it as a booking. I'm not too sure, but as I said, if Walker's going to be an idiot, he deserves to get the book thrown at him, sort of thing, for that. But he was just picky. And a lot of these European refs, I think there's more bookings now in European games than we seem to be getting in the English game now. I think we've gone a bit more lenient over here, but. It's he wasn't great. I don't remember having him before. I won't be overly excited if we get him again.
I'm never excited if we get any referee. To be honest, they're all as bad as each other.
Yeah.
Next question. It may be a tough one. This. Who was your man of the match?
Well, it'd have to be Steffen, mate. I mean, only just for the first half display, he did 3 or 4 good things. I mean, I've just been looking at the MEN scores here, and I mean, Steffen's got 8, and the next highest is 6, and I don't think I changed. I did much different to that. I think mine was 8, and the next highest was 6 as well. I just thought of the team. As a team, they were very, very poor City last night, and no one really stepped up and took responsibility last night. From the captain, who obviously was Werner, to the rest of the guys, to the experienced guys like KDB, Mahrez, and Gundogan. None of them stepped up and grabbed that game by the scruff of the neck last night. So I think Steffen has to be, because we could have been 2 or 3 down by half time, and he kept us in it at that stage. Although, say, second half, I don't think I'd done much with the goal. I thought Silva placed it well. I thought Aki was a bit weak trying to block it. He just give him half the goal to aim at. But I would give it Steffen, but only because he saved us from perhaps being a bit more humiliated, to be honest with you.
Yeah. The next thing we're gonna look at is the final table. Last night, of course, we knew before the game we'd finish top of the group, whatever happened. Leipzig, I think they had to match or better Club Brugge's result in Paris to get third. Of course, they managed that. Club Brugge finished 4th. But I don't think Club Brugge were a bad side, especially it's quite a tough group for them. City, PSG and Leipzig. And to get a win and a draw out of that's quite good for them. But PSG humiliated them last night. I think it was 3 or 4-1 in the end in Paris.
Well, I knew it was 3-0. I lost track after 3-0, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it was 3-1 or something like that. So, do you think there's any particular advantage for finishing first instead of second in the Champions League?
I think it's better to finish first this time from what I've had from a couple of other things I've done with who's in the, who finished second, who we can play apart from obviously not the English teams and stuff like that. I think it was definite advantage finishing first. Brugge, just to mention them, yeah, I mean, they started off very, very well, but it's like anything, they can sort of take that sort of keenness and attitude in the first couple of games, but it's very hard to, when you do lose a game in the Champions League and you soon see that you're going to struggle to get third or whatever, and that 5-0 demolition by Leipzig, I must have knocked the stuffing out of them, to be honest, because that sort of came from nowhere, didn't it, in the last game? Because I was thinking Brugge might get into the Europa League at this stage. In fact, they had a chance of taking over PSG at one stage, but obviously that totally demolished all those hopes. So I think they were probably a bit devastated. But I think it was best to finish first. Looking at the other groups, obviously it's Monday the draw, isn't it? I'm not too sure which teams we can. I'm sure someone's got somewhere what teams we can now get. I'm not too sure what they are once tonight's games finish, but it'll be interesting. I think it was a good idea to finish first, but as you said, it's what it is. I mean, it's Champions League, so they're all last 16 should be reasonable teams anyway.
Yeah, I remember a couple of seasons ago when we were in a group with Atalanta. Of course, we finished top, Atalanta finished second, and then in the first knockout round, they had Valencia and we had Real Madrid. So there's no particular advantage, I don't think. I think it used to be, but a lot of teams are now very good, to be honest, in the Champions League. And like some of these groups, Chelsea and Juventus, they're two quite good teams. Bayern Munich, Barcelona, of course, Barcelona fell off a bit, but they're still a good team. So there is some potentially tough draws in the first knockout round, and of course there'll be no Kyle Walker now due to a suspension.
Well, the thing is, as well, they could actually make it more if they want. I mean, it's not a guaranteed one match missing. He could actually miss more if they think it's poor play by him. They could extend it to 2 games. So there is a rule in the UEFA that they can do that. So it could be. I don't think it will be. I mean, it wasn't a real over the top. It was just petulance, really, wasn't it? It was just irate, and he just took a kick at the ball, but unfortunately through the player's legs. That's the only thing. So. Yeah, I think he'll be all right on a one ban. But February is a long way away, mate. Innit? I mean, obviously, a lot will happen. I mean, a lot happens in a week with every team, whether it's City, United, whoever it is. A lot of things happen in a week. But by February, at the moment, we've got an abundance of riches, haven't we? Because we've got there's only Torres missing. We've got a few niggles again, obviously Foden and Aki, but. Who knows by February, but perhaps people like KDB have started to come into some little form because they're certainly not at the moment. But I mean, get to the end of January when this all kicks, and then we'll probably have a look at the groups and who we're playing and what's going on and have a bit more knowledge then of what's going to happen going forward, or confidence that perhaps we missed 2 great chances of winning this when we got beat by Lyon and then obviously losing to that lot last year. So let's hope it's third time lucky and we can do it this year. But we'll not. Obviously, it's a long way away. Yeah, let's get this first spot cemented in the Premier League and let's open a little bit of a gap. Although that's not going to be easy, but we'll see.
Yeah, and in the Premier League, our next game, we've got Wolves at home on Saturday, 12:30 kickoff, which I'm not the biggest fan of, I'm not going to lie. So how are you feeling for the game on Saturday?
Yeah, well, he should have the backbone back of the team. But as you said, I'm not a big fan of early kickoffs. It's straight home from work, shower, and straight out of the door, basically, just to get there. And that's if the trams are running, and they're useless these days. That's just another pain in the bum that's never been right since COVID. And by next week, you're going to have your double jabs and stuff, aren't you? By next Wednesday, to go to the Etihad or an away game, you got to have your double jab. Be double jabbed to get in the ground or have a lateral flow test. from next Wednesday. So obviously it's next Tuesday, the Leeds game. So we're okay for that, and we're okay for the Wolves game. So that's going to lead to a few more empty seats, I think, when they come up. To be honest with you, it's a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. I had my booster yesterday, so I'm fully vaccinated as best I can be. But I've got my mask on at work again now, which is 6 hours of wearing a mask isn't much fun when you're working. Sometimes physical job, it's not great fun, But there you go. It is what it is. But Wolves. Yeah, they're not playing well, are they? I mean, they'll be gutted. They're gutted, aren't they, after that defeat against Liverpool in the last minute? So I didn't watch the game, and I didn't know what. I knew Liverpool had won, but I didn't realise how late it was. But they're a very, very defensive team away from home, and obviously they were a defensive team at home the other day. But there's no doubt about it. They're going to be very, very defensive against us, and of course they've got Mr. Adama Traore, that big guy who likes playing against us, but apparently he wants to leave, doesn't he? He wants to go to Real Madrid in January, so perhaps something else is on his mind. So I think we'll be all right. We should put it this way: we got our guys back. We get Bernardo, Rodri, Cancelo, and Diaz, which are like the backbone. If Diaz is okay, if he's not injured himself in that 3 minutes he played, mind you. Get those guys back and let's start another winning run, because let's just put this disappointment of last night behind us, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll wrap it up there then. Overall thoughts, a disappointing defeat, but not really the end of the world. But Kyle Walker was a bit of an idiot for doing what he did.
That's another thing. Yeah, I mean, you know what Pep's like. I mean, is he going to play Kyle Walker? Is he going to cut his nose off to spite his face? Is he going to punish Kyle Walker? I know he'd probably give him a rollicking in the dressing room. I think he hinted at that, didn't he, in his press conference? But that's another thing. Will he sort of put Cancelo as right back and play Zinchenko left back on Saturday? It wouldn't surprise me, because he has previous for this, Pep. For if someone lets him down, he makes them suffer. And I mean, if he did that, I don't think it'd be to the detriment of the team. Wolves are still very beatable if we can get through their defence, but. That'd be an interesting one as well, mate. What he does with Kyle Walker.
Yeah. So just before we wrap it up, mate, where can we find you?
Yeah, if you go on my Twitter account, so it's Bird Deneen at Charles Deneen. As long as you spell Deneen, DINNEN, I'll always come up. Even if you go on a search engine and trying to find me, obviously my City channel, I'll just call it the Citizen channel, spelt with an I, not a Y. So even if you put Citizen channel in the search engines, you'll find that. But the best starting point is always Twitter. So just at Charles Deneen, and just remember to do DINNEN. So as the most popular way of spelling Deneen is just one N, but I'm the posh way. I'm the posh way of spelling it. It's two N's. So very rare. That's why you can find me easy enough, because there's not many of us about. So that's great, that, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers for coming on again, mate.
No worries.
Big Morgan says we will go forward. Come on, City.
We will, mate. We will.
Yeah, we should do anyway. You can find me at MCFC Hibs on Twitter. Here, Dugout Daily on YouTube. Tomorrow we've got a couple of streams. We'll be doing Napoli against Leicester and Celtic against Real Betis tomorrow, both in the Europa League. And I do have a show on Football United TV tomorrow night as well. So if you want to check that out. That would be much appreciated. But until then, we'll see you all later. Everybody, take care and stay safe. Take care and peace.